Her mother's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Family helps each other," she said, waving her hand dismissively. "It's what good daughters do." The words hit Lynn harder than she expected. She stared at her parents, waiting for one of them to disagree. Neither did. Her father kept slicing his salmon, as if nothing had happened. Hash shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. Lynn's pulse throbbed in her ears. 2 years of working overtime, skipping vacations, cutting meals. 2 years of pretending it didn't matter. 2 years of waiting for someone to notice. But no one ever did. Her mother reached for her wine glass, calm and certain. "You've always been the practical one. You can handle it." The practical one. The invisible one. Lynn's throat tightened. She remembered the night her father called for help. "Just one payment," he'd said, voice soft and unsure. "Until things get better." She believed him. But one payment became 12. Then 24. Now she realized there was no end in sight. She had become their safety net, their silent provider. And somehow, they had convinced themselves it was love. Her mother laughed lightly, as if the tension were a joke. "Don't look so serious, dear. You're lucky to have enough." Lucky. The word burned in her chest. Lucky to be drained. Lucky to be ignored. Lucky to be needed, but never seen. She glanced at Ha across the table. Her sister's crimson dress glimmered under the chandelier. Perfect hair, perfect job, perfect life. And all of it quietly funded by Lynn's exhaustion. She remembered buying her mother that pearl necklace. A Christmas gift paid with her year-end bonus. Her mother wore it now, proudly, as if it were her own achievement. Every memory of kindness felt poisoned. Every word of affection tasted false. Lynn inhaled deeply, her hands trembling on the table. "I've been paying the mortgage for 2 years," she repeated. Her mother tilted her head, feigning confusion. "And you think we should thank you for that?" The room went silent. Even Hal looked stunned. Her father cleared his throat, but didn't meet her eyes. "You know your sister's career is demanding," he murmured. "She can't be burdened with bills right now." Lynn's lips parted, disbelief flooding her. "So I'm the one who carries the burden for everyone." Her mother's tone sharpened. "Watch your tone, young lady. We raised you better." Lynn's laugh escaped before she could stop it. "You raised me to pay your debts." Her mother's eyes narrowed, icy and sharp. "Family doesn't keep score." Lynn leaned forward, her voice steady now. "Maybe family shouldn't use each other either." The chandelier above flickered once, casting fractured light across their faces. And for the first time, Lynn saw them clearly, not as parents but as strangers. The call came 3 days later. Her mother's voice sounded sweet, almost rehearsed. "Can you help me organize my tax papers, Lynn? You're so good with numbers." Lynn hesitated but agreed. Maybe, she thought, this was a chance to reconnect. When she arrived, the dining table was covered in documents. Receipts, forms, envelopes all piled in messy stacks. Her mother smiled without looking up. "Just sort them by year. I trust your system." Lynn sat down and started arranging the papers. She worked in silence, her fingers brushing over faded ink. Most pages were harmless, just normal household bills. Then her eyes caught something strange. Her own name, printed beside a loan statement. Not hers. The balance was for a student loan, has student loan. Her pulse quickened. The payment listed nearly $20,000. Next to it, her own account number. She froze. Her stomach turned as she flipped through more documents. Car payments. Credit card statements. All with her information. All linked to her bank. Her hands began to shake. Each page felt heavier than the last. She whispered to herself, "This can't be real." But the evidence kept piling up. Every payment she thought went to her parents, mortgage. Every temporary transfer. It was all funding Has life. The clothes, the car, the tuition, every piece of her sister's success. She felt the floor tilt beneath her. Footsteps echoed behind her. Her mother stood in the doorway, holding a cup of tea. "Did you find the mortgage forms?" Her voice was calm, too calm. Lynn turned, the papers trembling in her grip. "What is this?" she demanded. Her mother's expression didn't change. She only sighed. "You're overreacting. Family shares everything." Her father appeared behind her, glasses slipping down his nose. "She's helping her sister, that's all." Lynn's breath caught. "You used my account, my money." Her mother's tone hardened. "Don't make a scene. You know Ha's career depends on appearances." Lynn stared at her in disbelief. "Appearances? You call this love?" Her father's voice turned defensive. "Your sister meets clients. She needs a car, nice clothes." "And I need boundaries," Lynn snapped. Silence filled the room. Ha appeared in the hallway, phone still in her hand. She blinked in confusion. "Mom said you wanted to help." Lynn laughed bitterly. "I didn't even know." Her mother stepped forward, calm but cold. "You're stable, Lynn. You'll be fine." Stable. The word echoed in her head, hollow and cruel. She looked down at the papers one last time. $61,000. 2 years of sacrifice disguised as love. And in that moment, Lynn understood. She wasn't supporting her family. She was funding their illusion. Lynn sat in the cafe, the folder open between her and Lan. Steam rose from untouched coffee cups. Lan flipped through the papers slowly, eyes narrowing. "This isn't normal family support," she said. "This is exploitation." The word hit Lynn like a punch to the chest. Exploitation. Not love. Not duty. A quiet theft wrapped in affection. Lynn pressed her palms together to stop them from shaking. She had thought being useful meant being loved. Now she saw the truth. Usefulness was her only value to them. Lan closed the folder gently. "You need to stop giving them money, all of it." Lynn stared out the window, rain streaking down the glass. "If I stop, they'll hate me." "They already don't respect you," Lan replied softly. The words lodged deep, sharp but honest. Lynn nodded slowly. For the first time, the idea of saying no felt possible. That night, she sat on her bed surrounded by documents. She began writing everything down. Dates, amounts, reasons, lies. Every transfer, every excuse. The notebook filled quickly with proof of her own silence. Each line was a confession she hadn't realized she'd been keeping. Her phone buzzed. A message from her mother. "Remember to transfer the wedding deposit for Ha. Tomorrow." "No, please." "No, thank you." Just expectation. Lynn stared at the screen for a long time. Then she deleted the message. Her heart raced, but she didn't send the money. The next morning, her mother called. Her voice was sharp, annoyed. "The venue needs payment today." Lynn took a slow breath. "I'm not paying for it," she said evenly. Silence crackled through the phone. "Don't be ridiculous," her mother snapped. "You know your sister deserves the best. She can pay for it herself." Her voice didn't tremble this time. "You're being selfish," her mother hissed. "Family helps family." "I've helped enough." The line went dead. Lynn sat there, phone still in her hand, trembling. But beneath the fear was something new, relief. The kind that came after years of holding your breath. She looked around her small apartment. The bills, the notebooks, the quiet. For the first time, it felt like her own space. Later that night, Lan texted her again. "Proud of you, this is the first step." Lynn smiled faintly. It didn't feel like victory yet, but it felt like freedom beginning to breathe. She whispered to herself, almost a promise. No more lies, no more silence. Outside, the rain eased into a steady rhythm. Each drop against the glass sounded like a heartbeat returning. And Lynn knew She was done living for their approval. From now on, every dollar, every choice, every breath would be hers. The air in the dining room was heavy when Lynn walked in. Her parents sat at the table, waiting. Ha scrolled through her phone, oblivious. Lynn placed a thick folder on the polished wood. The sound made everyone look up. "We need to talk," she said. Her mother frowned. "Can't this wait? Dinner's almost ready." "No," Lynn replied. She opened the folder, revealing organized stacks of paper. Receipts, transfers, bank statements. Every dollar accounted for. 2 years of payments, she began quietly. The house, the loans, the car, the credit cards. Her father's eyes narrowed. "What's your point?" "The point is I paid it all." She flipped a page, numbers highlighted in yellow. 24 mortgage payments, 19,000 in loans, 9,000 for clothes and trips. Hal looked up, her face paling. "That can't be right." "It's all here," Lynn said, sliding the proof forward. Her mother scoffed. "You offered to help. We didn't force you." Lynn's voice stayed calm. "You asked, I said yes. That doesn't make it right." Her father shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "Family doesn't need to keep track like accountants. Family shouldn't exploit each other either." The words hung between them, sharp as glass. Ha reached for the folder with trembling hands. Each page she turned made her breathing heavier. "You paid for my car," she whispered. "For your tuition, your credit cards, all of it." Her voice cracked but stayed steady. "I thought Mom and Dad helped," Ha murmured. "They helped themselves to my money," Lynn said. Her mother slammed her hand on the table. "Enough, you're making a scene." "I'm making the truth visible," Lynn said. For once, her hands didn't shake. Her father rose halfway from his chair. "You're disrespecting your parents." "I'm protecting myself," Lynn replied. A knock sounded at the door before anyone could answer. Her mother frowned. "Who's that?" "Uncle Hung," Lynn said calmly. "I asked him to come." The door opened. Uncle Hung stepped in, his face serious. "Evening, everyone." He took a seat beside Lynn and glanced at the documents. "I see you've been busy," he said softly. Her mother's eyes flashed with anger. "You involved outsiders in family matters." "Outsiders," he repeated. "I'm your brother, and I won't stay silent while you exploit your daughter." The room went still. Her father's face turned pale. Ha closed the folder and pushed it away. "Mom, Dad, is this true?" Her mother looked down. Her father said nothing. For the first time, Lynn saw their confidence crumble. The house of lies they'd built began to collapse. She stood, her chair scraping the floor. "I'm done paying for this family," she said. Her voice didn't waver. Uncle Hung nodded. "Good," he said quietly. It's time they learned what love looks like without money. And in the silence that followed, Lynn finally felt free. Days passed in uneasy silence after the confrontation. No calls. No messages. Only the hum of the fridge and the sound of Lynn's pen. She spent nights revising her budget, recalculating her life. For the first time, the numbers belonged to her. No hidden payments. No guilt. Just plans. Her phone buzzed one morning. Her father's voice was polite but rehearsed. "Your mother and I have been thinking. We can compromise." Lynn's fingers tightened around the phone. "What kind of compromise?" "If you resume the mortgage payments," he said slowly. "We'll make sure everyone knows how much you've helped." Lynn almost laughed. "You want me to pay for your praise?" "It's not like that," he insisted. Her mother joined in, tone soft but sharp. "Family relationships are fragile, Lynn. Don't ruin them." Lynn exhaled, her voice steady. They were ruined the moment love became a transaction. She hung up. That afternoon, she opened her laptop. Her cursor hovered over a job offer she had saved for months. A new position in Da and Letter 1EB5NG. Higher pay. A clean slate. Her heart pounded as she clicked accept. When the confirmation email appeared, she whispered, "Done." She started packing that weekend. Each box she sealed felt like closing a chapter. On Sunday, an invitation arrived in her inbox. A family dinner at her parents' house. She went anyway. The table was set, candles lit, pretending nothing had changed. Her mother smiled as if everything were normal. Has sat at the head of the table, glowing in her white dress. The room buzzed with chatter until Lynn stood up. "I brought a gift," she said, placing a silver-wrapped box before Ha. Her mother beamed. "How thoughtful. What is it?" "Open it," Lynn said. Ha tore the paper carefully. Inside was a leather folder, filled with receipts, ledgers, and copies of every payment Lynn had ever made. Her mother's smile froze. Her father went still. Lynn's voice was calm. "That's $61,000 of love, all yours." Ha's eyes widened, tears glimmering. "You did all this for me." "No," Lynn said softly. "I did it because I didn't know how to say no." The relatives murmured. Uncle Hung stood at the end of the table, his face stern. "She carried this family while being called ungrateful." Gasps rippled through the room. Her mother tried to speak, but no sound came. Ha rose, clutching the folder to her chest. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know." Lynn nodded. "Now you do." She turned toward the door. Her father called after her. "Lynn, please, think about what you're doing." She didn't look back. "I am," she said. "For once, I'm thinking about me." The night air was cool as she stepped outside. For the first time in years, her steps felt light. Each one carrying her farther from obligation, closer to herself. 6 months passed. The sea breeze drifted through Lynn's apartment window each morning. Sunlight painted golden lines across her desk. Her life felt quiet, measured her own. No calls asking for help. No guilt hidden in polite words. She brewed coffee and checked her loan app. Another payment cleared. Each month, the balance shrank and her chest felt lighter. She worked hard, late into evenings, but for herself now. At the office, her manager smiled. "You're up for promotion next quarter." Lynn thanked her, heart swelling with something unfamiliar, pride. That night, she called Lan. They talked for hours about work, laughter echoing through the line. Lan teased, "You sound like someone who finally exhaled." Lynn smiled. "I guess I did." Her apartment was small, but it was peace. No borrowed walls, no borrowed life. A few weeks later, a new message arrived in her inbox. The sender's name made her pause. Ha. She hovered over delete, then opened it. The first line read, "I took over the mortgage last month." Lynn's eyes widened. Ha continued, "It's harder than I expected, but I'm learning." The email went on, admitting truths Lynn never thought she'd hear. "I used to think you were cold. Now I understand, you were exhausted." Lynn read it twice, then a third time. Near the end, Ha wrote, "I want to visit when you're ready." Lynn typed slowly. "Not ready for Mom and Dad yet, but I'd love to see you." She hit send, exhaling softly. Outside, waves whispered against the shore. The next morning, Lynn met Lan and Uncle Hung for brunch. They laughed over coffee, sunlight flickering through the window. Uncle Hung raised his glass. "To freedom, the kind that costs nothing but courage." Lan added, "To the family we choose." They clinked glasses, simple but sincere. Later that evening, Lynn sat on her balcony watching the sunset. She thought about her parents' house, the silence between them. Maybe one day, forgiveness would come. But not yet. Healing was its own kind of love. She opened her journal, flipping to the last page. The first entries were filled with pain and numbers. Now she wrote, "I am free, I am enough." Her phone buzzed again, an email from work. Promotion confirmed. Her smile spread slowly, quietly. She turned off the lights, leaving only the city glow. The ocean hummed softly below, steady and infinite. Linh leaned back, whispering to herself, "Finally, it's my life." And in that stillness, she realized something beautiful. Freedom wasn't just leaving. It was staying gone, without guilt. It was choosing peace over approval. It was building love where honesty could breathe. She closed her eyes and listened to the night. The world was vast, and for the first time it belonged to her. Spring arrived with soft rain and blooming light. Linh walked along the coast, shoes in hand, waves touching her toes. The city behind her buzzed, alive but distant. She breathed deeply, the air carrying salt and calm. Her phone buzzed, a message from Ha. "Landing tomorrow, can't wait to see you." Linh smiled faintly, heart steady. Forgiveness wasn't instant, but understanding had begun. She typed back, "I'll be waiting by the pier." Closing her phone, she watched the horizon blur into gold. For years, she'd lived under someone else's definition of love. Now she was writing her own. Each sunrise no longer felt like debt but promise. Each moment belonged only to her. Lan's words echoed in her mind, soft and true. "You don't owe anyone your peace." Linh whispered the words again, letting them settle. She turned toward the sea, wind brushing her hair. The past no longer chained her, it had taught her. And as the tide rolled forward, Linh finally understood. Freedom wasn't escape, it was coming home to herself.